What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 9 of Money Moves? Yeah, I think that's right. Got a few things I want to talk about today. I put a little bit of thought into this episode. It's going to be a little bit of a Q&A, and there's a lot of things I want to get into. But yeah, you are joining me yet again from downtown Oklahoma City. I'm actually here at a coffee shop called Coffee Slingers, trying out their cold brew. Here lately, I've been in this position, right? I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before when it comes to the espresso, when I get my iced Americano. I don't really enjoy espresso or an Americano from most places. Starbucks seems to be the only place that makes it right for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the beans, how they're roasted, or maybe they just pull the shots perfectly. I don't know. It just seems like Starbucks is the only place that does a good enough job with the espresso for me to enjoy it. So what I've been doing is, rather than getting Americanos or espresso from the local places, I've been trying their cold brew, and I did that with this place, and it's pretty decent. I'm more happy with this than I would have been with an Americano, but I had it made the exact same way. It's just cold brew and milk. There's no sugar, no weird stuff in it, anything like that. It's just cold brew and milk, and it's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Plus it was like $4. Like, it's pretty hard to beat, and you get a cool little glass cup. Of course, you got to return it. But anyways, yeah, guys, I think I'm going to call this episode Reality, because I kind of wanted to break down, the way that some things kind of just are in real life, and I had a Q&A on my story on Snapchat. I wanted people to send me some questions, and there was a lot of good questions, guys. So I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. I think I only did 2 or 3 questions last time, right here from this rooftop. I think I'm going to do a little bit more than that this time. So I guess I'll start with the first question. There was somebody who is starting a business or trying to start a business, and he doesn't really know what to do, doesn't really know where to get started, and he's always just trying to figure things out, right? And he was just kind of wanting my advice on something. And this was actually before I posted the Q&A. This was a whole other question that I had from somebody else that I thought I would throw in this video. And I had to explain to him, because he was like, man, it just seems like everyone else has it figured out, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and it's working out so well. And, I remember starting a business, or wanting to start a business, wanting to do something and not knowing where to start, and just constantly feeling like I wasn't doing anything right, and everyone else knew more than I did. And it was like some club that you're just not invited to, right? I completely understand that feeling, right? I had to explain to him, man, like, you never really figure it out. You never do. I don't care how many people try to put off this persona that they're just figuring life out, right? They just have it mastered, and they're just geniuses, right? Just super successful and always on top of their game. And guys, it's not really the reality. And I'm not going to be that type of person. I think you're just fake if you try to come across that way. Like, I know where I'm at. Yes, I'm a business owner. Yes, I'm like financially free. I pretty much do what I want all the time. But that doesn't mean I have everything figured out, right? I'm not balling. I'm not just like buying whatever I want. I'm not rich or anything like that. You know what I mean? So like, you never really figure it out. And I had to explain to him, like, being a business owner or an entrepreneur especially, it's just a constant loop of trying to figure things out and trying different things and failing, right? Like, failure is necessary when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, because those are the things that force you to be better. Those are what force you to be more efficient, to evolve as a business or as a person, and that's what makes you better. That's the thing. And I've told people before, man, like, but especially when it comes to business or personal life, whenever you're an entrepreneur, I actually have learned to love not necessarily failing. Like, I'm just like, yes, I can't wait to fail, right? Or I can't wait to struggle. But almost all the breakthrough moments that I've had, or things that have really just elevated my business or elevated my personal life somehow, stemmed from those moments where I was like, damn, like, I'm stuck. I can't figure this out. Or, man, like, I thought my business was going good. I thought I was doing this well, but like, it turns out if I want to take this to the next level, I can't continue this path. I have to change something. I have to become more efficient. I have to become more skilled. I have to do something, right? And those are the moments that make you better. But you never stop running into that. There's never going to be a day where you're just like, oh, got it all figured out. Life is absolutely perfect, no struggle whatsoever. And if you ever do, life's going to get boring, right? So yeah, that's the first lesson of the day. You never really figure it out. So don't feel bad about yourself. We all got to start somewhere. I was completely clueless when I started a business. When I started, trying to be an entrepreneur, I didn't go to college. I didn't get a degree. I started my business my senior year of high school, guys. I'm still figuring things out. There is still a long list of things that I don't know. And that's the problem, is a lot of people never get started with certain things because they're like, well, I don't know what to do. You never really know what to do until you do it, right? If you always waited until you knew exactly what to do before you did something, you're not really going to get anywhere. So like, it's just one of those things, man, to where just get your ducks in a row as much as you can. get your shit together as best as you can, and then just do it. Just see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? Just go for it. And you'll learn along the way what needs to be done, what you need to do. If other people are doing it, you can do it. And especially in business, guys, that's just one of those things. You just have to get started, and then you'll figure it out along the way. Like you don't know what the second step looks like until you take the first step. And that's kind of just the point that I would like to make with that. But as far as the actual questions go, as far as the actual Q&A that people slid up with on my story, let's see, I got the first question here is how to grow and get your name out there. Now, I do believe this person is kind of like selling things on their social media, not like a brand per se, but kind of like flipping things. And there's a lot of people that do that, you know, like all power to you. So, and I'm going to answer this a few different ways because I know other people might have the same question, but in a different way. So when it comes to growing and getting your name out there as a brand, if you are a company, so if you want to start a clothing brand or some sort of company that you're selling a brand, you're selling, you know, a name. I have experience with this, right? I have a brand as well. And I even have a brand that's in an industry that is shadow banned on the internet. So it is really, really hard to grow. Like we can't run ads. We really can't post a lot. We have to be careful what we say, what we do. It's like we are very heavily restricted. And we've still grown our Instagram pretty sizable, right? For someone in our industry, we're at over 5,000 followers, which isn't like a ridiculous amount. But again, we have the odds stacked against us because we're shadow banned. Instagram or any social media doesn't like our industry. I mean, even for our website, I had to set up a different payment processor, right? Even banks don't want to deal with us. So it just comes down to, if you want someone to like your brand or like your product, and this even goes for personal stuff as well, you have to find something that is interesting that people like. That's kind of like the bare minimum. You have to find something that's cool and interesting or new that people will like. That's the bare minimum. Now, in order to get that out there, in order to get that to stick or for people to follow your brand or to be interested, you have to understand that life is a constant loop of transactions. Everything's a transaction. I hate to say it that way. I'm not saying that, like, you know, when it comes to personal relationships, everything has to be transactional. But when it comes to society in general, if you want to grow a brand, what does that mean? If you want to grow a following, if you want people to follow you and buy your products, you are asking them for something. You're asking them for their attention and their money, their resources, right? So in order for them to want to do that, you have to offer them something in return other than just a cool product, right? So do giveaways, give discounts for people that shout you out on the story, give out stickers for free. That way people put it on places, you know, do merch. That way people wear it. It's like a walking billboard. Like, you have to think about things in that way to where it's like, okay, I'm asking them for a following. I'm asking them for purchases. I'm asking them for respect for my brand. I have to give them something in return. And most of the time you have to do that before you get anything out of them. And that's just really how it goes, guys. I mean, over on our story or over on our Instagram, one thing that we do a lot is giveaways. So we'll say, hey, we're doing a giveaway. We're going to give away a gift card, or we're going to give away this product or whatever it is. And we say that the rules for entering are, you know, you have to follow us and tag us in your story, or you have to follow us and mention 3 friends in the comments, right? And your friends can enter as well. It's kind of, you have to be able to give something up beforehand in order for it to be worth it for them. So when it comes to actually growing and getting your name out there, you have to be prepared to give something up before you can get anything in return. And that's kind of just like a rule of thumb, and depending on whether or not you're a personal brand or an actual brand itself, it's going to be pretty much the same, right? So that's just what it comes down to. Everything's transactional. If you want something from someone else, your best bet on getting that from them is to give them something in return or beforehand. And that's just, you know, again, just kind of like a rule of thumb. The next question is, should I be buying crypto? Now that's, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people had this question. And I know we are in this place with crypto. So Bitcoin just hit 100,000. I don't know when you're watching this, but right now it's December of 2024. Bitcoin hit 100K about 2 weeks ago. Right now it's back down to like 92, 93. And look, there's a lot of hype right now. There's a lot of people who want to get in on it. They think that it's a good way to get rich. Here's my thing. There's a couple different, and I've had an opinion on this on my Snapchat. There's a couple different ways. So like, a lot of people will conflate like crypto with investing. You have to understand they are completely different, right? When a lot of people talk about crypto, what they really mean is they want to day trade. They want to buy it at a certain price at the beginning of the day and sell it before the end of the day and be up 3% in a day and do it again the next day and flip their money over and over and over and over again, or pumping it up or something. To me, that's even different than buying and holding Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or something like that, because here's where I'm at. I do hold Bitcoin. I hold a little bit of Ethereum, not a lot. Mostly Bitcoin and a good amount of XRP, but it's not because I'm day trading, and it's not because I'm betting the house. I just think it's good to be diversified, and I'm seeing it as a long-term investment, right? So I'm buying those things not because I want to sell it tomorrow for a 2% profit. And when it comes down to these meme coins, to the random things, that's what people are really curious about, because they think that you can invest $100 into fart coin, you know, and have $1,000 when you wake up in the morning. And the reality is that's just not going to happen, guys. I mean, that's very, very unlikely. And here's what I think it comes down to. This is just my personal opinion. When it comes to buying crypto, I need you to think about how much money you have to just throw down on crypto right now. If I told you, yes, you should go buy crypto, how much do you have? If you were to theoretically quadruple that money, would it change your life? So if you're someone with $1,000, you have literally just $1,000 to spare. If you were to turn that into $4,000, would that really change your life? The answer is no, it wouldn't. You might think it will, but it won't. That money will go quick. 4 grand's not a lot, even 10 grand. It's not a lot. It's not life changing. And unless you have enough money laying around that you can change your life by doubling it or tripling it or maybe even quadrupling it, I don't think trying to bet on meme coins or day trading is worth it, because you're much more likely to lose your money doing meme coins or any of these pump and dumps. You're much more likely to lose almost 100% of your investment. And if you only have $1,000 to spare or anything near that, losing that money is going to be a lot more life-changing than quadrupling it. Do you see my point? So unless you have literally like 25 grand laying around, I don't think crypto is worth it, because also, if you're going to be day trading crypto mainly is what I'm talking about, and if you plan on buying meme coins or day trading, that requires a lot of time, guys. You have to, and look, I've done this. I've been here, I've done that. I've day traded, you know, different cryptos. I think I was doing Solana. I was doing Bitcoin when it was at 10K, right? I should have just bought it and held it, but I was day trading it instead. You have to have a lot of time to dedicate. So not only do you have to have a lot of money to make it worth the time, you have to have enough time to make it worth your money. So you have to have a lot of both. And if you don't, it could be a massive waste of your time and money, because you're probably going to lose both of those things. You're probably going to lose most of your investment, and you're probably going to lose all of your time. And to me, that's not worth it unless you have a lot of money laying around. And odds are, if you have a lot of money laying around, you might have a little extra time in your hands to do whatever with. And that might be a different scenario if you have 25 grand laying around and you know you want to put half of that into some crypto. Be my guest. But that's not your average person. Your average person, especially people my age that I'm trying to reach right now, they're not going to have more than a few $100 or maybe a couple thousand laying around, and it's just not going to change your life to triple that, guys. It's just not. And the reality is you're much more likely to lose it than you are to profit any amount. So that's really my opinion on that. Now, if you want to buy and hold Bitcoin, I'm not going to tell you that's a bad idea, because that's what I'm doing, right? But I'm also not planning on selling it within the next 4 or 5 years. I plan on holding it for a very long time, right? So unless you are prepared to, 1, lose all your money, or 2, not have it for numerous years, crypto may not be the best option for you, right? Now, the next question is, I remember this question. I make a decent amount of money. What should I do with it? So this guy said that he was like in a construction company, or he may have been a car salesman. Anyways, he does okay for himself. You know, he probably makes like, I think he said 60 or 70K a year. That's pretty decent, especially for guys our age. And he said, what should I do with it? First of all, I don't think he specified how much money he had just laying around or what his bills look like. Unless you make well into the 6 figures, I mean more than 150 to 200K, you're not going to have enough disposable income for anything but the stock market. Okay, so if this guy would have said, hey, I make a decent amount of money, I make 200K a year, what do I do with it? I might say, hey man, put like 20% of that or 15% of that into the stock market and stick back 10 to 20,000 over the next year and go buy some real estate with it, right? At least here in Oklahoma, that's about how much you'd need. Other places, it's definitely going to vary. But yeah, unless you make a decent amount of money, guys, real estate's kind of out of the question. And it's not that real estate's just unattainable, but you need, even here in Oklahoma, this is one of the cheapest states to buy real estate in right now. You need like a minimum of 20 to 25K, right? After buying something, even with an FHA loan, to buy something, you know, you're going to need 5 to 8,000, maybe 10,000 down, another couple of thousand for potential closing costs, you know, whatever, and let alone to have reserves in case, you know, your property needs repairs or something like that. So in order for you to safely buy real estate, you're going to need to make a little bit more money than 60 or 70K a year, which is a good amount. Dude, I don't remember how old he said he was. I know he was probably younger than me. Making 60,000 a year, dude, that's good. Like, keep up the good work. I'm not here to like say you don't make enough money, but you're not ready for real estate yet, right? You're just not. And that's totally okay. I'm sure over time you can level up in your career, save up a little bit more money. Be my guest. Here's what I will say when it comes to okay, if you are one of these guys that makes about this much or makes a decent amount, but you don't have enough to buy real estate, focus on the stock market now, invest your money in the stock market now and use it as a really high interest rate savings account. It's going to pay you dividends. It's going to build in value. You're going to invest in the S&P 500. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, you can turn that savings account into a nest egg for you to go buy a piece of real estate with. But yeah, so if you're making about that much, don't worry about real estate at the moment as far as actually buying it, but do your homework, right? Watch YouTube videos, learn all about it. That's very important. That way you can make the right moves when it is time to do that. As far as I think he said maybe something about starting a business. You can try that, man. It just depends on what you're doing. So like if you have a good career, and you probably do if you're making $70K a year, man, focus on that. If you're in the trades or if you're a salesman, focus on that, man. And if you want to do something beyond that, just save your money for a while. Save your money so that way in a couple of years you have enough money to start a business or to get into real estate or something like that. But for now, dude, if that's about what you're making, or really most guys, this pertains to most people. What should you do with your money? Right now, it's going to be to invest it in the stock market, especially right now. Now's a great time. Like the market's down, the streets have been really bloody. Ever since the Federal Reserve announced only 2 rate cuts for 2025, the stock market's been kind of dull, right? It's been tanking a little bit. Now's a great time, right? And it's really always a good time to invest, but especially now. So that's what I would tell you that you should do with your money. Also, I'm required to tell you, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not licensed or anything like that. So do your own research. Don't invest just because I said, and don't buy anything specific just because I said it. Do your own research. Do not base your investing decisions based off of me. Legally, I have to tell you that. Anyways, the next question is, should I pursue full-time content creation? I've never been asked this question, so this is a really good question. He actually just asked me that this morning. Here's the deal. Look, I make content. I'm not going to say I make full-time content. You have to offer something, right? What I offer, and the reason why you're here, is to learn maybe about money, if you want to learn about investing, or maybe learn about business, or maybe a combination of all of it, right? Because that's what I talk about. That's why you're here, because I offer you something. It's not just because I'm funny or interesting. Maybe you think I'm interesting, but really you want to know what I know. You want to hear what I have to say about these things because you're interested in those things. So in order for you to pursue full-time content, I guess that means like quit your job, or even just in general, before you want to be a content creator of any kind. And look, guys, I'm not even a big content creator. I have like 30 subscribers on YouTube, right? I mean, I just started it. I have about 98,000 viewers monthly on my Snapchat, a little over 100 guys in the Patreon. So it's like a side hustle, to be honest with you. It's compared to the other things that I do, it's definitely a side hustle. And that's me with something interesting to offer. I mean, I'm a 22-year-old, 7-figure business owner who's financially free, and I'm not popping or anything like that. I'm not popular, So you have to offer something interesting, valuable, or new, right? Or new. And if you can't do that, that's okay. You can work on that. You can find a way to, maybe if you're in the trades, you can learn about those things and make your way up the ranks, and maybe in a couple of years, or you can travel, you can become interesting, you can go do things. I just don't think it's reasonable for me to tell you, I don't know how old this guy is. I really should be asking how old you guys are when you ask these questions. I would assume around my age, perhaps younger. Man, you're going to be better off chasing a career. I'll just be completely honest with you. And hey, man, no one says you can't do it on the side. I mean, I spend maybe 2 hours a week working on this content, and I make side money. It's nothing big, but maybe not even 2 hours, probably like an hour a week is what I spend on recording or editing or uploading these videos. So I don't think full-time content creation is going to be a good idea to just like drop everything. Now, if you were to tell me, hey, I've already got 10,000 subscribers and I've grown a lot within the last 2 months, should I pursue it? I would say maybe, maybe if you think you're going to grow. But if you're just starting out at zero, I don't think neglecting a career or neglecting a good financial situation is worth it, right? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not here to demotivate you. Just try it. Try it on the side. Spend 1 or 2 hours a day working on it. And that's the thing about most side hustles is you don't have to really pick and choose. Like if you wanted to start a business, even if you wanted to start a actual business, you can still work a 9 to 5 and do that. If you really have that hustle in you, you can do that. So no, I don't think pursuing a full-time content creation career is a good idea unless you already have somewhat of a presence or unless you're somewhat well-known already. That would be my advice on that. Anyways, guys, it's a little cold. I forgot my hoodie. that is definitely a rookie move. I thought I had it in my car and I didn't. I also forgot my camera stand, so I'm having to use my computer to prop up my phone. So good thing I brought it. I don't know, I guess I'm underprepared today. I guess I should have expected cold weather from Oklahoma. It's December, right? It's like 2 days from Christmas. So I guess I'm kind of lucky. It's like in the 50s, so it isn't too bad. But yeah, I had some business to do today again, and I just found myself here. I really like this rooftop. It's pretty cool. I do need to find a studio. I'm thinking about building one. I don't really know what I'm going to do yet, but I might build one, so stay tuned for that. I don't really have a whole lot of information outside of that, but it's starting to get cold, and really I should have thought about this before, and I really didn't until it started getting cold and windy. I was like, it's getting uninhabitable outside. What am I going to do about this? Just stop making videos? Go back to making them in the car? No. So stay tuned for that. I don't know how long it's going to be, but now that people are tuning in to watch, now that I have a YouTube channel, now that people are paying money to watch and listen to me over on Patreon, I need to invest. I need to upgrade my equipment. I really do. And I need to have a mic as well. It's not bad on windy days or on non-windy days like this, but that's something I'm definitely going to look into. But yeah, guys, just to reiterate, outside of the Q&A, you never really figure things out. Like being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, or just doing things on your own, or just becoming financially free in any way. It literally is just a constant loop of not really knowing what's going on, but figuring it out anyway, right? You figure one thing out, you go on to the next, you don't know what's going on, you have to figure that out. And then it's just a constant loop. And anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying, fake, or talking out of their ass. They don't even know what they're talking about. That's just, and that's just my opinion. Look, I'm not like a big baller, I'm not a billionaire or anything like that. But I do all right. You know, I own a business. I have a lot of experience in sales and traveling. I've talked to a lot of wealthy people that are worth, 10 times what I am, people that are twice my age that have been doing business or sales or real estate or anything like that for a long time. You never really figure it out. And that's just the reality of it. So don't expect to have everything figured out before you get started, because if you think that way, you're never going to get started, because you think you have to know everything, and you don't. And you learn so much faster when you just do something, when you just jump into it, right? I'm not saying to just be completely unprepared. Do as much research as you possibly can and learn as much as you possibly can. But if you feel like you need to actually do it to learn more, do that. Don't hold yourself back. And that's like, it's kind of why a lot of people will say, hey, like when it comes to business or entrepreneurship, you learn so much more from experience than you do from college. And I mean, I've never been to college, so I don't know if that's true, but I do know I have learned a lot. I've basically paid myself to get a business degree over the last couple of years, right? Because you don't really know things. You don't actually know things until you practice it in real life, until it happens. So don't worry about trying to figure everything out. Just figure out as much as you can, and then just do it and see what happens. Again, what's the worst that can happen, especially if you're starting out from nothing? The worst thing that can happen is if you do that, if you just jump in, is it fails and you start back right where you are now. And then you could try something again or try it again. Big whoop, you're probably going to learn something from failing. And then again, failure is necessary. Those are the things that teach you things. Those are the things that make you wise. Failure is what prepares you for life, right? Failure is just going to happen. So learn to expect it. And I know that's kind of cliche. Failure is very important, and struggle is very important. And if you get very far in business, you will learn to appreciate it, because those are the things that force you to evolve your business model, to become more profitable, to become more scalable, to become more just everything, to become bigger, right? Because here's the deal. There's been a lot of points in business where it was going really good, and I was like, yeah, like we're doing great. And I could have just continued that exact business model or that exact strategy forever and just done good. I just would have done okay. I would have never done better. And, I wouldn't have necessarily crashed and burned. I just wouldn't have necessarily grown my business or made more money. So a lot of times when you run into these things where it's like, dang, like I better switch this up, right? I better figure something out here. I better come up with a new strategy. Those are the things that lead your business or your ventures to become bigger and better for you. So learn to embrace those things. But again, this has been episode 9 of Money Moves. I'm getting a little cold. I appreciate you guys for being here, and I will see you over on Snapchat, and I will see you on episode 10.